My family mocked my success and stole from me, so I made sure they lost everything. I never planned revenge, I just wanted peace. But when my family pushed me too far, I decided to stay quiet, wait, and let karma do its work, with a little help from me. My name is Elena, and for most of my life, I was the disappointment of the family. I didn't follow their path, and I didn't brag about my work. They thought I was weak. They thought I'd always need them, but they were about to learn just how wrong they were. They kicked me out of the house and told everyone I was broke and homeless. 3 weeks later, I was on the cover of a national magazine. The same family that laughed at me was suddenly trying to reach out again. They had lied about me, stolen from me, and treated me like garbage for years. So I made sure they paid for it, slowly, painfully, and publicly. I grew up in a family that cared more about image than love. My parents, Peter and Nora, loved to show off. My older sister, Camille, was their pride. A corporate lawyer, perfect smile, luxury lifestyle, and everything they could brag about to their friends. Then there was me, the college dropout, who started an online business. They thought it was a joke. You'll never get anywhere without a real job, my mom would say, rolling her eyes. My dad would laugh and ask, "How's your little internet thing going?" I ignored it. I kept working in silence. While they bragged about Camille's career, I built mine quietly. By 30, I owned my own company, had investments, and lived comfortably. But I never told them. I didn't need their approval. To them, I was still the failure. They'd use me as a warning whenever they wanted to make themselves look better. And honestly, I let them. I didn't need to prove anything. Until they crossed a line. One rainy Thursday, my mom texted asking me to come over. When I arrived, everyone was already there. My parents sitting seriously in the living room, and Camille sipping wine like she was waiting for a show. My dad said, "Elena, you're 31. It's time you grow up. You can't keep wasting your life on this nonsense." I was confused. What nonsense? He pointed to the door. "You need to move out and take responsibility for your life. We can't keep helping you." I laughed because I'd never asked them for anything, but they weren't listening. My mom said, "We can't keep enabling this lifestyle. You need to learn the hard way." Camille smirked and said, "Maybe now you'll get a real job." I stood up, grabbed my bag, and said, "Don't worry, you won't ever have to help me again." Then I walked out, calm but furious inside. A week later, I started hearing rumors. My mom told people at her church that I was broke and living out of my car. Camille told friends I'd hit bottom rock. They were enjoying it, but they had no idea how wrong they were. A few weeks later, I got a message from my bank about unusual activity. 2 large withdrawals, about $7,000 each, had been taken from an old savings account. It was a joint account my parents opened when I was a teenager. I'd forgotten to close it. The withdrawals were made at a branch just a few blocks from their house. When I called the bank, they said my mother had come in and told the teller it was a family emergency. She took the money out using my name. At first, I thought there had to be some mistake, but later that week, my cousin sent me a photo of Camille with a brand new SUV. My mom had used my money to buy it for her. No apology, no shame, just a stolen account and a big family smile. That night, I sat in my car outside their house and watched through the window. They were laughing, taking pictures with the keys. That was when the anger finally turned cold. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to make them wish they'd never underestimated me. Step 1, protect everything I owned. I locked all my accounts, moved my money, and made sure there was no way they could touch anything again. Step 2, gather proof. I collected the bank statements, photos, and even screenshots of text where my mom justified it later, saying, "It was just sitting there. Your sister needed help. Family comes first." Step 3. Build my comeback. Quietly. Over the next few months, I expanded my company, started new partnerships, and built connections with investors and business journalists. I didn't post anything online or brag. I wanted the news about me to come from other people, not me. When people started whispering about my success, I knew it was time to strike. I reached out to a national business magazine that often wrote about self-made entrepreneurs. I sent them my story. Not a sob story, just the facts. How I built my company from nothing, how people doubted me, and how I succeeded anyway. They loved it. A month later, my face was on the cover with the headline, "The woman they called a failure built $1 million empire in silence." The article didn't mention my family by name, but everyone in town knew. The same people my mom used to gossip with were now sharing my story. And it wasn't just fame, it was timing. Because around that same time, my dad's property company was falling apart. He had taken a big loan for a housing project that was about to go bankrupt. I used my connections to buy the project quietly through another firm. When it defaulted, I became the legal owner. My dad lost everything, and I didn't have to lift a finger. 3 days later, I invited my family to dinner at a fancy restaurant. They came, all dressed up, acting sweet for the first time in years. Halfway through dinner, I slid a folder across the table. Inside were the ownership papers. My name. Their old project. My dad froze. "This can't be real." "It's real," I said. "The bank sold it. I bought it." My mom turned red. Camille just stared. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't even smiling. I just looked at them and said, "The difference between you and me? I didn't have to lie, steal, or beg to get here." They didn't say a word. I stood up, paid the bill, and left. Word spread fast. My family's perfect image was gone overnight. Everyone knew about the stolen money, the lies, and the failed business. My parents stopped getting invited to events. Camille had to sell her SUV. My dad's company shut down. Meanwhile, my business kept growing. I made sure the workers from the development kept their jobs. I wanted justice, not destruction. They tried to call me later. My mom texted, "We're still family." My dad left a voicemail saying, "We need to talk." I didn't reply. Months passed. The magazine story turned into more opportunities. I was invited to speak at events and mentor young entrepreneurs. As for my family, they went quiet. The people who once mocked me couldn't even say my name without feeling shame. Sometimes when I drive past that housing project, I stop and look at it. Families live there now, kids play in the yards, and I smile knowing it's mine, bought with my patience and their arrogance. They thought I'd be nothing. They thought they could take from me forever. But I turned their betrayal into a lesson they'll never forget. They underestimated the wrong woman, and I made sure they never forgot it. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more true revenge stories.